everybody, let me get my phone case. So, hello everybody, it's T-Tech Uploads here, and we're back with videos. I think I'm going to start uploading again more frequently. The thing that has gotten me to upload less is past. And I want to start off with a hero deck profile, because even though I did one really recently, the Darkwing Blast sneak peek, and it came out, and that came out last Saturday. Well, I went to it last Saturday. I went to it at my locals, and I came first, and I got this. Let me just. Ooh, look at that! Look at that! Ooh, look at that playmat. I love the pink in the back. But anyway, I won the playmat, and I did it using this deck here. Now, this was actually pretty cool because I got to see when more people are playing competitive decks, when more people are playing to win, how well the deck can do, and I want to share it and I want to share more so a discussion instead of it's going to be a deck profile too, but more so a discussion why every card helped and situations in which every card helped, and why I agree with the ratios that I picked and what I would change if I didn't. Honestly, I wouldn't. No, there were things that I think weren't as necessary as I thought they were. And yeah, anyway, let's get started. I'm not going to do like a quick version and a long version because I do want it to be just like, this is how it's going to work in Darkwing Blast, and this is why I think it's going to be good in Darkwing Blast, and why it was good last for this past format that's going to be passing with Darkwing Blast coming up. But much of the reasons that the deck was good now make it good later on in the deck as well. The only thing that's going to change, really, I think the tier cards, the Bisted support is going to be really good, especially of getting stuff, like getting your stuff really, sorry, like banishing your monsters when banishing your DP is going to be rough, and they can banish your Malicious and Denier to stop your combos early on. But I still think that this version of the deck is really good, and I would this is my recommendation on the deck. And anyway, let's get into it. I don't know how long the video is going to be, but I'm going to try to do the best I can to make it shorter. So, you guys saw the first card that we're going to start out is one which I think is very controversial. Not controversial. Most people are playing it, but the amount that they're playing it at is very controversial. I'm going to start off by saying Crosskeeper was very essential in this in this win. Like, without Crosskeeper at 3 in the deck, I don't think it would have happened. To be fair, there wasn't any time in the games. We played, I think, 5 or 6 rounds, and or 4 rounds and then Top Cut. No, we didn't play Top Cut. So yeah, it was like 5 or 6 rounds. I just came first after Swiss, and they were like, yeah, okay, whatever. So they did what's it called? Crosskeeper at 3 was one of the ways that I got into Darklaw. I summoned Shadow Mist, special summoned Shadow Mist with this more times than not, and it went in times where I hard opened the Mass Change. This was just an extra Stratos. It was just an extra body on board. It was an extra way to get advantage, and in a lot of cases, an extra way to get a little bit of damage on the board, because this can summon back Stratos, and Stratos is almost 2,000, especially when he's being boosted by something with like Sunrise or the Dread Decimator. It's a pretty big body, and it's a pretty substantial amount of damage. So this honestly, if anything else, this is just an extra way to get a body on the field, which worked out really well. I'm not going to go over what the cards do in this one, because I feel like most people looking at this trying to go like, oh, first place deck, hero deck profile, are going to be like, oh, I know how to play the deck. But anyway, yeah, let's keep going. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of it. It was like a long couple of weeks. But anyway, 3 Crosskeeper, I think it's really good. And although one thing that I will say is when the next set comes out and Ian Shuffle comes out, screw this card. Screw this card sucks compared to the Ian Shuffle. This is rough compared to Ian Shuffle. I mean, yeah, it summons back from Graveyard, and like maybe you'd play one of it in the deck, but I'd rather Ian Shuffle 100% of the time, because Ian Shuffle doesn't take it takes up a card in your hand, yeah, but it doesn't use another card in your hand. It just uses from deck, right? So it's just a lot better. Then we have our Vision Hero package, so we're playing 3 Ferris, 1 Increase, and 2 Vision Hero Vion. So the reason 3 Ferris I think is pretty standard. Some people play 2 Ferris, but I like 3 because I like seeing this a lot. Even if you draw the increase or you've already used the Ferris combo, this could be just an extra dump to get into Malicious Bane. This could be an extra special summon if you have extra cards in hand. 1 increase I think is better than 2 because you don't want to open 2 increase. You don't want to open increase at all. If you open increase at all, it's just rough. It's just like, well, this card is useless in my hand. I'm going to use the one, like, you're not going to use the one in hand for the Ferris combo if you, like, maybe it's a discard, but even then, like, you want to discard something like Shadow Mist, Malicious, or Denier, right? It's not, like, that actually does things for you, whereas just discarding increase is like, okay, yeah, that's a discard, it's like, whatever. So I think 3 increase and 3 Ferris, 1 increase is the correct amount, and 2 Vion. For the Vion, I know I hear a lot of people playing 3 Vion, but honestly, once you run out of Shadow Mist, or once you after turn 1, you do all your combos and whatever. You don't have any Destiny heroes that you really want to dump into from the deck into your graveyard anymore with Malicious and Denier. You really want to keep those in deck. And honestly, I only play as much Vion as I play Shadow Mist because yeah, you can summon Vion, and I do play the second Poly, so like playing 3 Vion would be like, okay, I can't use the third one because I can't search the Poly. There's nothing else I really want to dump. Most of the time, you are dumping Shadow Mist with this, unless you want to get the Shadow Mist mass change effect. So like, I don't see the point of playing any more than 2. You can play 3 if you think that's a great card and you want to say like, oh, it's better than Stratos. Then I think you're wrong, but like, you can think whatever you want to think. It's a free world, whatever. And I just think Vion's really good, but he's only as good as the cards you can dump, and he's only useful as long as you have cards to dump, if that makes sense. Because most of the time, if you run out of Shadow Mist, or you open all the Shadow Mist and like already dumped your Malicious, you're just jumping another version of Ferris, so you don't see it later on, right? So it's like, whatever, it's good. But the Vision Hero package, I think we're past the time when it's like the necessary inclusion to the deck, right? Like the deck runs on it and nothing else. Like there's so many more things that you can do with heroes now, with Crosskeeper, with a hero lives at 3, with Denier in the format, with Fusion Destiny back at 3 for the finally. I mean, I get why they put it at 2 because everyone was using it, and now everyone's going to use it again. I already saw branded players using it at the sneak peek, and it was like rough. Because I was like, damn, why are you using my card? But anyway, next off, we're going to 3 Stratos. Everyone knows what this does. Stratos is insane. I have a pretty version. I have 3 pretty versions. I like the ultis more, but Starlights are pretty too. I want them to make a collector's rare Stratos. I love the collector's rare already. It's like ultimate, but like new. But I love the ultis. I love them. I love them. They're my babies. But anyway, 3 Stratos. I see a lot of people cutting down on Stratos, which I think is kind of dumb, because Stratos is like the best card in your deck, especially now with Crosskeeper. A hero lives Crosskeeper at 3, a hero lives at 3, and just Stratos being at 3. You can literally go through all 3 copies of Stratos in one turn if you already have everything else you need. If you open 3 Stratos, 1 Crosskeeper, and a hero lives, you can a hero lives the or actually maybe 2 Stratos and whatever. But you can literally just summon all 3 Stratoses in the same turn, get everything you need for every other turn that you like follow up, or even just for this turn, and just like be happy. And people make the what's it called? The argument that like, oh, he's so accessible now. Why would you play more than 2 or more than 1 if you can just access him always? I mean, because once he's in the graveyard, there's no real way of like accessing him again, right? There's no real reborn from the graveyard that doesn't negate your effects, right? So there's no, I mean, I guess there probably are some cards. I'm probably stupid and just can't think of anything because I haven't been playing for the longest time. I mean, I've been in the game for 2 years and I've done pretty well, but like I'm not the most knowledgeable Yu-Gi-Oh player. So maybe there is some way that you can summon like Stratos off the graveyard, and I'm just but like not searchable, I guess. There's no searchable way to summon Stratos from the graveyard. So if you only play 1 copy, which I see people doing, I think that's really stupid because you're limiting yourself from using the best card in the archetype. It's like, Why would you do that? But anyway, this card at 3 is insane. I literally did one game where I summoned all 3 copies of Stratos in one turn. The guy was like, "What the hell?" And I literally ended up like making an unbreakable board because he couldn't do anything. I had Plasma, Dark Claw. No, what I did was I just made the normal combo and then Fallout for next turn. That's what I did. And I'll show you guys what the normal combo is at the end of the at the end of the video, because I think it's really important for you guys to know what the the board you need to be making is, especially in this format. And this board is like a lot of the times, especially against tier players, they couldn't play around it, and it's a really tricky board to out for every deck, especially decks that rely on the graveyard. So 3 Stratos, that's important. Then 2 Shadow Mist. For Shadow Mist, this is another card which is really like, ooh, are you going to play 1 Shadow Mist, or are you going to play 2 Shadow Mist? Never play 3 Shadow Mist because that's dumb. But it's like, why would you want to open this? I mean, I guess with summoning from hand, but usually you want to open the Mass Change or open the Cross Keeper, and then get this on the field with the Crosskeeper by searching it later on, because then if you draw into the Mass Change by going into whatever, or like deciding, oh hey, I want the draw engine and then I want to go into my Destiny Hero combo, that's how you do it. And then you like search the Shadow Mist later, or just dump it later when you don't need it. It's like, I think for me, I wouldn't play any more copies of Shadow Mist as I do Vion, because usually with Vion, if you open the Mass Change, which is pretty easy to do, or even just a hero lives the Mass Change, you can just Vion Shadow Mist, or not when the hero lives the Shadow Mist, but whatever. Most of the time, you're dumping a Shadow Mist with Vion to just search Denier, which is like why would you play more Shadow Mist than you play Vion if like that's the way you get him into graveyard, right? Then 1 Liquid Soldier. I don't know about this. I like for sure play it. For sure play it. It's definitely at least a one of. But man, is it really good to get that advantage? Is it? I was thinking of playing 2, but I just don't know what I would cut in the deck to like fit another copy of it. The deck is really tight as it is. I think it's 43 or 44 cards. Right now, 4 of them honestly are a bit extra, and I ended up not really needing them at all, and I'll explain why later on. But honestly, this card I think is definitely a one of it. The advantage engine that this gets you, especially with Crosskeeper in the format, it came in clutch so much. Like I remember this one game against a tier player. No, I wasn't against a tier player. It was against a Sky Striker player. I had I had this. And a Vion in... No, I had a Vion only in... a Vion and a Crosskeeper, I think. So what I did was I normal summoned the Vion, searched the Poly, then searched this... normal summon Vion, send Shadow Mist, search this, search the Poly by banishing Shadow Mist. Then I special summoned this with the Crosskeeper, and polyed the Vion in this into the Sunrise. Then I what's it called? Then I activated Liquid Soldier and then activated Crosskeeper to draw 2 cards and then discard 1 and then draw 2 cards and shuffle 1 back. That got me into the Mass Change, which got me into the Dark Law, and the Fusion Destiny, which got me into DPE. So and then I used the Sunrise and I forget I summoned back Malicious, used the Sunrise and the Malicious to go into Crosskeeper or Cross Crusader, summon back the Denier, search, put the Malicious back top the deck, search Dark Angel, and then went into the board, which is like, that's so useful, because going 4 cards deep in your deck, in a deck that traditionally doesn't have a real way to draw cards and draw engine, is just crazy. Then, Honest Neos, I think this card is more useful just being a high statted monster than it is being the attack boost, because you don't really have trouble going for game. This is a great way to go for game if you're trying to go under Nibiru, which is like pretty prevalent in the format. I got Nibiru'd a few times in the what's it called in the tournament, and it was rough. I was like, damn, why is this card back? We all know, we're all hero players, we know Nibiru's cancer, but I play one of him because I do think he's necessary, especially in the strategy that I'm playing, because there are some things that I think are like pretty useful and have come up a lot for me, which is why I do what I do. Now, for the Destiny heroes, we're playing two Malicious because there's only two Malicious, one Denier because Denier is basically necessary in heroes at this point, one Plasma, and one Dark Angel. So the main focus of this deck is to get the DPE, the Dark Law, and the Dark Angel on their field. But there are some decks that doesn't do much against, and in those cases, Plasma usually works. Plasma and DP usually works. The only thing, and the only reason that I don't always make that board and I make the Dark Law, Dark Angel first, is because Super Poly, Dark Ruler, and like a bunch of other board breakers are in the format, which means that if you summon DP and Plasma in the same board and have and like only have follow up, you're probably getting OTK'd by tier when they super poly you, which is rough. Which is why I think the Dark Angel board is a lot better. But anyway, Plasma is still good. If they don't open super poly, then you're golden. But if they do, then you're kind of screwed. And I'll explain all that when I show you the final board at the end of the video. Then we're playing one Adusted Gold and one Dark Calling because even though a lot of people are cutting this, it's so good. As follow-up, you literally just have, if you have any way to search any card, which you always do, and you're just going in for game because you already dealt damage, you can literally just summon this, clear the board, and like search this off of basically anything. Your Stratos searches it, your Shadow Mist searches it, your Cross Crusader searches it, your Rhoda doesn't search it because it's a fiend. But it's two cards in the main deck, and it summons such a powerful monster and such a good OTK enabler, which I know the deck has a lot of, but it's a really good card, and I don't see why people are cutting it. Then we're going into the spells. So 3 a hero lives. This gets you Mass Change. This gets you Stratos. I know it's like it's a whole thing where it's like it's a really good card, but at the same time it's like why is there such a big cost? And why do I have to have no monsters? If they made a hero lives retrain that was actually like better, that would be insane. I would play that 100, but then I don't play my ultis, and that'd make me sad. So I'd probably play these just because they're cool. But 3 a hero lives because why wouldn't you? Then this is something new. This is something that I changed in recently, and I've found it to be so much better than playing a Wonder Driver in the extra deck. Holy crap, Wonder Driver sucks, man. Holy cheese and G's. So the reason why is because before I used to feel like if you use your poly to make a Phoenix Enforcer, you were kind of limited in what you could do later on, because unless you had Wonder Driver and set back the poly, which takes a lot more resources than you would think when you have a cleared board and you're just trying to get back into the game. Like, yeah, it's like you always have access to it because it's whatever, but an effect negation can do it. Whereas a normal summon Vion, send Shadow Mist to search whatever you need, and then search the second poly is a lot easier. And I just think that having the second poly, even just hard opening poly, is good. So it's like, I'd rather play the second poly than the Wonder Driver in the extra deck. But that's just me. Then we're playing 3 Fusion Destiny, because why wouldn't you? Then 1 Miracle Fusion to go for the advantage package, but also, and to get into the to get the advantage off Sunrise. 3 play this, please play this, play this, play this, play this, play 3. This card is stupid. This card is dumb. This card shouldn't be at 3. This card shouldn't even be. Actually, if it were at 1. No, because then I'd be mad if people drew it. So I'd want this card to be banned 100%. I get so mad when I get super polyed, and I get so mad when I super poly other people, because it's like, why am I winning this game when I was nowhere near this? Because not only does it clear your opponent's board, but it also interrupts them if you need it. It also gets you a monster with another interruption sometimes, or it just gets you advantage in Garura. Or protection in Mondragon. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. But anyway, 3 Mass Change because Dark Law is like the main thing in this deck, so opening this as much as possible is good. Then as for 1-ofs, we have Called By and Reinforcements. This searches you anything, and this is just protection or interruption, which is great. I don't know, Called By is overpowered. I don't know why they banned Red Reboot and then left Called By. It's like, oh hey, we're gonna leave this card, which is like infinitely better and more used. Now, these cards helped for sure. This I think is necessary, especially in the coming format with Darkwing Blast, because if someone summons a Bisted mon, if tier summons a Bisted monster, most of them are dragons, I think. And if you rivalry, then they can only summon dragons, and that would suck for them. So rivalry, I think I would put my card at 43 and just play rivalry. This I actually found that I'm gonna cut this from the deck because Dark Angel does this. The reason this is in there is because of Mystic Mine, and although honestly there was a Labyrinth player in my locals that I was worried about, I wanted to side deck the Royal Decrees, but I was like, nah, he's not gonna play the Labyrinth at a sneak peek. Spoiler, he played Labyrinth at the sneak peek, and another person played Labyrinth too, so it was rough. But this one, in this past format, I don't think it's necessary, but in this future format, definitely play this. I cut what, honestly, I don't know what you would cut from the main deck, but just play 43 cards. It's not that bad. Your deck is super consistent anyway. And, like, yeah, it's like, ooh, less chance of drawing the mass change. But it's, like, not even that much. It's negligible. And, like, this card is really good. It basically, it doesn't affect you besides, like, the Bane line. Honestly, if you wanted, I would cut the Bane stuff and then, like, make it 41 and just play these three, and then have an extra space in the extra. But, like, I wouldn't do that because I think his Bane is worth it, especially in the times where you don't draw this, which is, like, it's 3 cards in your deck, like, the likelihood that you're going to draw it. I mean, you can go into the Liquid Soldier play to draw into your deck and just do everything, but, like, why? Okay, but that's it for the main deck. Those last 4 cards are like the flex options. You don't have to play the Harpy's Feather Duster. I found that Dark Angel by itself, Mystic Mind players usually want to go second. So if you just summon the Dark Angel, it's good enough on its own. But the Harpy's Feather Duster does help sometimes. I don't know when, but like usually for Mystic Mind players, you just win with the side deck. And if your opponent is playing Sky Striker and that's what they're playing Mystic Mind in, then you just auto win because Dark Angel, literally they can't out it. They cannot out Dark Angel if you have a DP on the field and like DP their normal summon. It's just hilarious, and they can't use any of their spells anyway because they have to control no monsters in the main monster zone, which is just hilarious. But anyway, let's get into the extra deck. So first, our super poly targets. These came in clutch. I especially liked playing Garura. This won me a game against a Sprite player, which was like really funny. I just super polyed their board away, and they were like, well, that's rough. Mud Dragon didn't come up as much as I'd wanted to. The reason I play Mud Dragon is because it's good. You can use it against all the decks that these two don't work against, and also it's targeting protection for your monsters, which is great because you don't like targeting on your monsters. Then the one Bane, 2 Cross Crusader. I want to play 3 of him. I really want to play 3 of him, but I'm like, games don't usually go that long, so I would convince myself not to. And it was the right call. I think 2 of him is great. If you want to play 3, I understand, and like I wouldn't say don't because it's like it's good, but I just think 2 because the third one's hardly ever going to come up, and you don't really need the third one later on. And if you ever need the third one, you're at a game state where it's simple enough where like there's barely anything you can do with that third one anyway. So I don't think it's too necessary. Then we have the Advantage Engine. So this is literally just, if you have Crosskeeper, it's just draw 4. If you don't have Crosskeeper, it's just draw 2 and get a Miracle Fusion, or draw 2 one turn and draw 2 another turn if you stall out more, which is usually what I do. If I don't draw the cards that I want and I can't go for game, I usually just hold on to the Miracle Fusion and make absolute 0 the turn after and just draw another 2. I know it's funny how I cut the Wonder Driver instead of the Dread Destiny, because you'd think like, oh, Wonder Driver is actually like a good card, but this card only gives you attack, and it's a little vanilla besides that. And this is true. This card is dumb and stupid and not in a good way. It's bad, but it does help you go for game, and it does what it's supposed to do very well, because you always have at least 7 monsters in your graveyard at the end of your combo, and that's 700 attack for every monster it points to, including itself. So that's an extra 2100 attack just for making it, and that's at the beginning of your first turn combo. Later on, if you're pushing for game, this really helps out a lot. And then the masked heroes, we have one acid to go into off of Liquid Soldier or Absolute Zero if you need it. This actually hardly ever comes out. Most of the time, this just comes up when going for game. One blast. Blast is good. I like him. Although, if you cut a card, I would like. There's not that much target negation in the format, so I don't think this is as necessary. If you want to cut anything out of the extra deck, I'd cut this one. Then 2 Dark Law. I wouldn't play 3 Dark Law because it's when are you ever going to resolve 3 mass change in one game? That's not happening. Maybe 2. Maybe you draw 2, and it's like, okay, I drew 2 mass change. But if you ever draw 3 mass change, just discard that off Liquid Soldier or do whatever. Because, like, that, you're never going to summon 3 Dark Line. If you do, it's like, okay, well, fantastic. I mean, like, it's great, but whatever. Then, this is actually a controversial thing as well. But I can tell you that this has won me more games than I can count. A lot of the time, when people play 1 DPE, it means that after they clear it, which they 100% will, especially after Bistids come out and they can just banish anything willy-nilly, Bistids come out this next week, so it's like, it's going to happen. But, it's just, you gotta play it. I think 2 DPE is correct. You can make it with so much stuff in your deck. If Plasma is useless in your matchup, then use Plasma and the Dark Angel that you didn't use, or use Plasma and Honest Neos, or whatever. And I'm talking about the second time that you use it. The first turn, you're always going to use Malicious and Denier. No matter what, even if you open it in hand, always use those 2. But if you're later on in the game, or you open to a Fusion Destiny early on in the game, you can literally just make it so that you summon off a Denier off the DPE effect, go get your advantage, and then just Fusion Destiny the second DP out of the extra deck, and that gives you actually some safety, because if they banish 1 DP with like a Bisted or whatever, then you can still go for the second DP off the same effect. Not in the same turn, of course, but like, it's just, it really does come up, and I really do think that if you don't agree with it, at least try it for a few games and see like, oh hey, opening up this second copy of Fusion Destiny doesn't actually suck now. It actually just won me the game, which is actually what happened like two or three times at the in the sneak peek where I got the mat. It was like, I opened up the second Fusion Destiny, they got rid of my DP because they were like, oh, DP is a good card, and I was like, yeah, DP is a good card, but can you deal with the second DP? And they were like, no, I can't, I just lose the game. So yeah, anyway, that's it for the deck profile. Now I'm going to go and show you the main combo that that you can do. So I'll show you the easiest version of the combo, or like the best case scenario. There are a lot of versions to get this, because you can, in Heroes, you can get to the same combo, you can get to the same board in a myriad of different ways, and it's like, but this is going to be the easiest one. So the easiest way to get this is literally, what's it called? Fusion Destiny, and any normal summon, but I'll do a good normal summon, so I'll get a Stratos in hand. So Fusion Destiny, first what you're going to do is you're going to activate Fusion Destiny. Let me actually move this so it shows all the field. My bad. I have a Speed Dual GX box right there. Okay. Let us... There, that's better. So we're going to activate this. Then we're going to send a... My deck is all sorted. It's so nice. 1 Denier and 1 Malicious. Then we're going to summon DPE out of the extra, which is fantastic. It's like, ooh, that's our best start in the game. Not in the game, but in the deck. There are much better starting plays in the game than it's not. I mean, it's a pretty good starting play. But anyway, oh, and you also have to activate Mass Change. This is a way that, like, any way to get to Mass Change is good, whether it's Crosskeeper or whether it's just a Hero Lives, or whether it's just hard open Mass Change. Let's just say we hard open Mass Change. But one thing that I will state is that this deck is geared towards getting Mass Change in your hand. There are 9 ways of opening Mass Change. There's 3 Mass Change, 3 Crosskeeper, and 3 Hero Lives. That is more than a quarter of your deck. Actually, no, that is about a quarter of your deck. That is one card less than a quarter of your deck that gets you into mass change. So most of the time, one in the sneak peek where it was like the first time that I played this version of the deck like competitively, I opened the mass change or a way to get to mass change every game, and I made this board every game that I needed to. Every game that I didn't need to, I just didn't. But every game that I thought like every game one, I made this board, and every game that I was like going first, I made this board, and it usually won me the game. So just opening mass change isn't going to be a problem, and if it is, it's going to be one game out of every like a lot. So anyway, next I put away the Stratos. Next, you're going to normal summon Stratos and search your Destiny Hero Dark Angels. Then you're going to banish the malicious to summon the other malicious. Then you're going to link this off into Cross Crusader. Cross Crusader is then going to bring back Denier. Denier is then going to shuffle back malicious to the top. Well, not shuffle back. It puts it to the top of the deck, which is like whatever. But then what you're going to do is you're going to activate the DPE effect. Then you're going to you're going to search with Cross Crusader. You're going to search a starter for next turn. Usually, it depends on what you have in your hand, of course. But usually, I like to search for Liquid Soldier because not only is it a way to reoccur any of your monsters in the graveyard, but it's also a way to get advantage. You didn't use Poly in this combo, so you will probably have a way to get to Poly in your hand, and if you don't, then you just summon this, search Stratos, and search whatever you need. Summon Stratos and search whatever you need. Sorry. So I usually search Liquid Soldier, but it's up to you whatever you want, and it's up to what's happening in the game. But then you search that, then you banish the malicious for the malicious on top. To do that, then activate DPE to pop these two. Then you activate Dark Angel effect. Now, here's where I'll go over Dark Angel's effect and why this. I'll explain why the board is so good at the end of it. But what this does is you can discard it if you have 3 or more Destiny Hero monsters in your graveyard. Oh, sorry. This is something you need to do. So you need to mass change the whatever. I'll use my LT into Darklaw. You put him in defense position. This is important. And then you have 3 Destiny Heroes, so you discard Dark Angel, and then you can summon a Destiny Hero from your graveyard onto your opponent's side of the field. And you summon Dark Angel, because what this does is, the effect is worded really weird and really, like, whatever, but the effect that he has is when your opponent activates a card effect, on resolution, it is negated. So that means they can still pay cost, they can still do whatever, they can still activate spell card effect. I don't know if I said card effect or not, but it's just spell cards. If they activate any spell card, it is negated, and then if they didn't have an effect or stays on the field, it is destroyed as well. So there's a way to get rid of field spells, continuous spell cards, quick play spell cards, and or stop quick play spell cards. Well, stop all of them and stop normal spell cards. Any spell card your opponent activates will be negated and destroyed. Now, why? And then, of course, you'll have DP coming back on the end of the turn. Now, why is this such a good board in this format? It's because, one, Darklaw pretty much hoses tier 100%. Tier cannot innately out this card, especially when you have DP on the field and they're losing and they're losing 600 because they have to be 24. Usually you have more than this. This is like the bare bones combo because you open Fusion Destiny and you're not getting the Ferris combo. Usually if you have the Ferris combo, you have another 4 monsters on field, so that means they're losing 1400. That's going to be your more like standard combo. Like if you open Fusion Destiny, this is what you do because it does help play around other things and it's less resource investment. You still have the Vision Hero combo to go into whatever to do this again, or even just go into the the Sunrise Absolute Zero, or search for whatever you need basically. But this is the least resource intensive. It does only make them only lose 600 life points, but it means if you get knee brewed, then you're not completely screwed. But the reason why this board is so good is because Darklaw is so powerful against every meta deck in the format right now. I played against Sprite, and this board was super hard for them to out. All their monsters are pretty small, so even just having DPE Darklaw without Darklaw effect is still pretty hard for them to out. The only way that the guy that one of the Sprite players that had this in their extra deck, because not even everyone plays this in their extra deck, is Zeus. Zeus was the only out they had to this card, and even then, you can just pop it with DPE, and they'll only have like 2 materials. It's not that bad. And if you have something like Super Poly, then you can stop them before they do it, right? But Darklaw just hoses the format, it hoses tier, it really hurts Sprite, and Dark Angel solves everything that needed to be solved for the deck in this format. And that's because the biggest weakness that this deck has is Nibiru for one, but you can't do anything about that card because why would you want, because the Heroes doesn't have a negate. But the other problems in the format are cards like Dark Ruler No More, cards like Super Poly, cards like every piece of spell card removal that Sprite and Tier have, cards that like Adventure, cards like anything that just gets rid of your monster in a way that's just simple, right? But Dark Angel solves that problem because all of those cards and all the cards that get your opponent advantage in a way that draws them into those cards are spell cards, right? And a lot of decks don't have an innate out to Dark Angel besides Tribute over it or Special Summon it, or Link Summon it away, right? And this card, there's no one Link monster that uses... the only Link monster that links this away by itself is Link Revo, because they can't use it for All Mirage because it was Special Summoned. They can't use it for any Link, any other Link ones because it's a Dark Warrior, which there's no Dark Warrior Link one. And the only reason they can use it for Link Revo is because it's a level 1, which is like, if it were a level 3, let's say, actually no, that would make it a lot more problematic. Let's say if this card were a high level, that'd be insane. But it solves everything because all the removal that you, like all the Dark Rulers, all the Super Polys that this deck has always just hard lost to, it's just solved by Dark Angel because it makes it so like, oh hey, all your Dark Rulers, all your whatever, even Imperm can't be used because this is a card on their field. Lightning Storm can't be used because it's a card on their field, and it would be negated anyway. But all of those cards don't do anything against your deck anymore. And every time that you do this, you always have a Denier effect that you can proc, a card in your hand for follow-up, and this was using 2 cards in the hand, or 3 cards in the hand. So you have 2 extra cards, you have 3 cards in hand, a way to draw cards potentially, 2 extra interruptions or whatever you have, or follow-up for the next turn, and a Denier and Malicious line for the next turn to get you into anything you need off Cross Crusader. So the follow-up, you will be able to OTK 100%. Darklaw is a monster to deal with, especially when your opponent's getting the attack reduction from DPE, and if they have to deal with the DPE pop, right? And one thing that is important, and I said was important, was placing your monsters in defense position. This is so they can't just attack with Dark Angel and clear it. Because if they attack a defense position monster, it stays on the field, right? But if they attack an attack position monster, it goes to the grave. So you have to, if turn 1, always put your monster in defense position. Yeah, Darklaw has 1800 attack, but most of the time your opponent is losing 14 off of the DPE. And if you do this bare bones, it's like, yeah, it's better for advantage purposes, but it also, you have to think about that attack reduction. But it's just, this combo really right now hoses the meta, and I can tell you it's true because even if tier, to going second against tier is rough, no matter what you're going to do, no matter what you have, but going first against their tier, every time I went first against tier in the tournament and in the times after the tournament, they can't clear this board and they can't play. And tier is going to be the most prevalent what's it called? Deck in the format, 100%. There is no doubt in my mind. Maybe Sprite's definitely going to get a big boost by Sprite Sprint, but holy crap, it's just crazy. And that is where I'm going to leave you guys. I just wanted to show you that combo at the end. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope that at least someone is helped out by this little explanation, little deck profile, because I feel like we're at a time where like a lot of people don't know what to do with heroes. But I found that this really works. It really works. It won me a playmat, right? And yeah, that's all I want to say. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, maybe even subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any just questions or if you have any disagreements. If you disagree with anything, I would love to discuss. Just because I don't think I'm perfect. I don't think I make the best decks. Yeah, this worked well for me, and it worked really well for me. But if you disagree, then please let me know, and just I'll try to figure out a way to explain to you in a way that satisfies you. And if I can't, that's too bad. But hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, maybe subscribe, and if you want, ring the notification bell for more videos. I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a great day.